am not only deeply involved in this lawsuit as a witness, but I am deeply involved in this lawsuit as a plaintiff. And there are many people who, perhaps who are not with us today, who would be very happy to hear that the name of the lawsuit was Kunstler against Pompeo. This is a lawsuit that we hope will, in fact, be one of the major ingredients about why the United States cannot try Julian in this country. They cannot try Julian in this country because they've overdone their misconduct. They've engaged in the level of misconduct in interfering in the defense of Julian Assange that cannot be tolerated. And it's brought in this country so that people can understand just the tip of the iceberg about what has been done to Julian Assange, the actions that have been taken against him. Here, lawyers, doctors, and other professionals who visited Julian Assange their conversations were recorded, but more than that, their equipment was taken, their telephones and their computers, and they were gone through. Now, this started happening in 2017. Before that, we had thought that the surveillance of the embassy was to protect Julian. But we found out through a lawsuit that was brought in Spain that starting in 2017, the lawsuit had the type of surveillance that was going on had completely changed. And now the surveillance was on a level that has been unheard of in this country and unheard of anywhere in the world, that you would record and take information about conversations, about what plans were being drawn up, specifically about the health of Julian and about what was going to be the defense at trial. Now, you're not allowed to do this. This absolutely violates the concept of justice in this country. And what caused this? How did we reach this level of hatred, of disobedience of law when it comes to Julian Assange? Well, it's significant that it began in 2017 because that was the year that Pompeo came into authority. And Pompeo's very first speech was that he considered Julian and WikiLeaks a non-state hostile intelligence agency. Now, to say that was an explanation that Julian had no rights left to him, that they could go in, they could kill him, anything they wanted to do was fair game. And that is something that is so astounding to our level of understanding of justice in this country that was the cause of this lawsuit.
Civil rights attorney Margaret Kunstler testifying at the Belmarsh Tribunal at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. Friday. Coming up, we'll hear from former British Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, Noam Chomsky, Dan Ellsberg, and more. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. We return now to the tribunal held Friday at the National Press Club. I chaired the proceedings with the Croatian philosopher and activist Srećko Horvat.
With us, the British politician, former Labour Party leader, a great friend of ours, a member of the Progressive International, and a vocal supporter of Julian Assange. If he was Prime Minister of the United Kingdom today, perhaps Julian Assange would have been free already. But it's never too late. So it's my great pleasure to present Jeremy Corbyn today in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Srećko, and thank you, Amy, for presiding over today's event. in this amazing setting of the National Press Club, where Julian Assange revealed uncomfortable truths to the world about the murder of innocent civilians in Iraq by specific military orders to do so, knowing full well they were breaking the law. What's Julian charged with? Telling the truth. Telling the truth all over the world about what governments do and what governments want to hide from. I, as an elected politician, am very well aware that elected politicians don't like being questioned on the decisions that they make. But it's fundamental to a democratic society that they are constantly under surveillance and under question. They're very keen on putting everybody else under surveillance. Their decisions should be under surveillance at the same time. And so Julian published through WikiLeaks huge volumes of information. He went to extraordinary lengths to anonymize the sources and protect the sources at the same time. He was extremely responsible in his journalistic approach to this. And the way his character has been denigrated all over the world is a shame and a disgrace. He's threatened with the Espionage Act. The Espionage Act for somebody who revealed truths. And if he arrives in this country and is put on trial here, which I hope he never is, and I hope he never does, would then face a 175-year sentence. It is, in effect, a death sentence, and he would be left for the rest of his life in a maximum security prison in the most appalling conditions. So let's get a message out here today from this National Press Club in Washington. We are bearing witness to a travesty of justice, to an abuse of human rights, to a denial of freedom of somebody who bravely put himself on the line that we all might know that the innocent died in Abu Ghraib, the innocent died in Afghanistan, the innocent are dying in the Mediterranean, and innocents die all over the world where unwatched, unaccountable powers decide it's expedient and convenient to kill people who get in the way of whatever grand scheme they've got. We say no. That's why we are demanding justice for Julian Assange. Hear the call. Let's free Julian Assange, and we will all be safer as a result of that. Thank you very much.